Tonight, we bring you Gnostic intel about the secret book of John. This will be a comprehensive analysis about the one source, how we should speak about it. Then we will cover the creation of the Aeons up to the major Aeon Sophia. And then we will also talk about her fall into the realm of material matter, or accidental creation of Yaldabaoth, which is Yahweh, as I said in my last video. We will also talk about after he's created, what he does, what he creates, as well as the beginning of our own creation itself. So let's just get into the material itself. The Nag Hammadi, Secret Book of John. It states, the One. I asked if I might understand this, and it said to me, the One is a sovereign that has nothing over it. It is a God, a parent, father, and of the all. It is the invisible spirit that is over the all and above the all. It is incorruptible light. It is a pure light which no eye can gaze upon. It is not a God. It is beyond the concept of a God. Far beyond. You cannot define it in such a way. In fact, it's better if you don't even ever attempt to define it at all. It's undefinable, it's unknowable, it's unfathomable, it's immeasurable. According to the Rosicrucian doctrines, which is not a part of the Secret Book of John, but it is, they call it the infinite unmanifest. It's eternal, yet it does not need anything, for it is absolutely complete. It has never lacked anything in order to be completed by it. Rather, it is always absolute, complete, and light. To quote, the One is illimitable, since there is nothing before it to limit it. Unfathomable, since there was nothing before it to fathom it. Immeasurable, since there was nothing before it to measure it. Invisible, since nothing has ever seen it. Eternal, since it exists eternally. Unutterable, since nothing could comprehend it to utter it. And unnameable, since there's nothing before it to give it a name. Names are given by things that have been created by something that came before it, so thus it has no name. And that is why Yahweh is not the One. It is immeasurable light, pure, holy, and immaculate. It is unutterable, and it is perfect in incorruptibility. Not that it is just perfection or blessedness or divinity. It is much greater than that. The One is not corporeal, and it is not incorporeal. The One is not large, and is not small. It is impossible to say how much is it, or how, or what kind is it, for no one can understand it. You can't even actually define it as an it either. The One is not among things that exist, but it is much greater. Not that it is greater, rather it as it is in itself, it is not part of the aeons or time. For whatever is part of a realm was once prepared by another. Time was not allotted to it, since it receives nothing from anyone. Since it receives nothing from anyone, what would have received would be on loan. The One who is first does not need to receive anything from another. It beholds itself in its light. The One is majestic and has immeasurable purity. So let's break that down. Essentially, this is stating that, as one great band said, if you name me, you have unmade me. You cannot define the One. It is undefinable. Any attempt to define it will destroy the idea of it. This is something that I feel like Christians truly struggle with, and why the Gnostic texts are so important, because they are always trying to define God either as a bearded old man or, you know, a male deity, which it's neither male nor female. It's not even androgynous either. These terms are used to define things that have manifested. It's not even a force. I hesitate to call it a force. It's the manifesting force of the universe. It permeates everything. It is and works through everything. constantly. It's the infinite unmanifest, as I stated before. And once it creates, then you can define things, the things that it's created. So let's go over some of the things that it's created, which are, according to the Gnostics, is called the Aeons. And the Aeons are more or less aspects of the One. They are like attributes, so to speak, of the One, where the One allots its power of creative essence to the Aeons so that they can then manifest worlds. There are several Aeons that are mentioned specifically in the Secret Book of John, though they sound more like attributes, actually, than anything that's actually been named as a god. You have will, thought, life, understanding, grace, perception, thoughtfulness, truth, form, insight, perception, harmony, understanding, love, idea, perfection, peace, and finally, Sophia, which is the Aeon insight of wisdom. The Aeon Sophia decided to, what you would call, self-emanate. And when she self-emanated, she accidentally created the Lord of all Archons, Yaldabaoth. She decided to do this self-manifestation without the use of her counterpart, Aeon, which some call Thelete, which is not mentioned in this specific text, but I have that from another source. Without Thelete and the use of both male and female, which the Aeons are paired as male and female pairs, she self-emanated and created Yaldabaoth, and it was an abomination. Let's go over that passage really quickly. The male did not give approval. She did not find her partner, and she considered that this without the spirit's consent and without the knowledge of her partner. Nonetheless, she gave birth, and because of the invincible power within her, her thought was not an idle thought. Something came out of her that was imperfect, different in appearance from her, for she had produced it without her partner. It did not resemble its mother and was misshapen. When Sophia saw what her desire had produced, it changed into the figure of a snake with the face of a lion. Its eyes were like flashing lightning bolts. Like flashing bolts of lightning. She cast it away from her outside that realm so that none of the immortals would see it. She had produced it ignorantly. So after she produces Yaldabaoth, she's completely ashamed of what she's done. She casts Yaldabaoth away from her and does not want any of the other Aeons to know what she has done. She surrounded it with a bright cloud, it says, and put a throne in the middle of the cloud so that no one would see it except the Holy Spirit, and who is called the Mother of the Living. She named her offspring Yaldabaoth. Then begins Yaldabaoth's world order, as is stated by the text. This is the first ruler, the Archon who took great power from his mother. Then he left her and moved away from the place where he was born. He took control and created for himself other Aeons with luminous fire, which still exist. He mated with the mindlessness in him, and produced authorities for himself. They are named Athoth, whom generations call the Reaper. The second is Harmas, who is the jealous, all-seeing eye. Third is Kalila Oumbri. The fourth is Yabel. The fifth is Adonaios, who is called Sabaoth. The sixth is Cain, whom generations of people call the Sun. The seventh is Abel. The eighth is Abrasine. The ninth is Yobel. The 10th is Ormupiel. The 11th is Melchior Adonian. The 12th is Belias, who is over the depths of the underworld. So, once Yaldabaoth is created, he then moves away and starts to create on his own. Yet all he can really do, as far as I've been able to decipher, is mimicry and generate something that looks very similar and is basically a replica of the Aeonic world order above his. All he can really do is copy that. And once he copies that, he tries to create his own little section of the universe that is his order and under his, so to speak, aeons. When he does this, he essentially breaks with all the rest of the universe and creates our solar system. He creates our solar system and stations his archons around it and gives dominion to various ones, to various places of this system. Furthermore, Yaldabaoth has two powers within him. One, his own luminous fire, and two, the power of his mother, which it specifically states he does not know is within him. He shares his luminous fire with the rest of the archons, but does not share his mother's power, for he is ignorant and does not know it dwells within inside him. Furthermore, on top of that, when light mixed with darkness, it made the darkness shine. When darkness mixed with light, it dimmed the light and became neither light nor darkness, but rather gloom. This gloomy archon has three names. The first is Yaldabaoth. The second is Sakla. The third is Samael. He is wicked in the mindlessness within him. He said, I am God, and there is no other God beside me, since he did not know where he came from, because Sophia hid this information from him. Then the rulers each created 7 powers for themselves, and the powers each created 6 angels, until there were 365 angels. After this, Yaldabaoth organized everything after the pattern of the first Aeons that came before him, so that he may create everything in an incorruptible form. Yet because he is actually not a true Aeon or true God, he is not able to create things in an actually uncorruptible form, and it becomes a very corrupt form. And the only reason that he could do this is because within him, the pattern of the world order which he came from was imprinted upon his being. He had not actually ever seen the Aeonic world that resides above his. And this is when he states, there is no other God besides me, I am a jealous God. As you may have read in the Bible before, when the God of the Bible, Yahweh, says this very thing. After Yaldabaoth is done creating his throngs of angels and exalting himself over them, lording his power over them, he sees an image from the one source appear in the heavens in the shape of a human. He sees this. The whole realm of the archons quakes, and he decides he wants to replicate this image. So he takes his archons and he begins to fashion a human body. One body part for every angel. There's 365 angels and demons, as I said in my last video, which he uses to create every body part that we have. And I'm not going to go into the long depth of analysis of every body part, but you can look it up yourself. There's a single angel or demon for every body part, all 365. Yaldabaoth says to his authorities, come, let's create a human being after the image of God and with a likeness to ourselves, so that this human image may give us light. And here comes the really interesting part about us being more powerful than him. He was unable to bring the body up. He could not raise it. It had no spirit within it. So 4 luminaries come down from the one and trick him. They said to Yaldabaoth, breathe some of your spirit into the face of Adam, and the body will rise. He breathed his spirit into Adam. The spirit is the power of his mother, but he did not realize this because he lives in ignorance. The mother's power went out of Yaldabaoth and into the physical body that had been made to be like the one from the beginning. The body moved and became powerful, and it was enlightened. At once the rest of the 20 powers became jealous. Although Adam came into being through all of them, and they gave their power to this human. Adam was more intelligent than the creators, and even the first ruler. When they realized that Adam was enlightened, and could think more clearly than they, and was stripped of evil, they took and threw Adam into the lowest part of the whole material realm. The human being was revealed through the bright shadow within, and Adam's ability to think was greater than that of all the creators. When they looked up, they saw that Adam's ability to think was greater and they devised a plan with the whole throng of archons and angels. They took fire, earth, and water, combined them with the 4 fiery winds. They wrought them together and made a great commotion. The rulers brought Adam into the shadow of death so that they might produce a figure again, from earth, water, fire, and spirit that comes from matter. That is, from the ignorance of darkness and desire, and their own phony spirit. This figure is the cave for remodeling the body that these criminals put on the human, the fetter of forgetfulness. Adam became a mortal person, and first to descend, and the first to become estranged from the aeonic and ethereal spiritual realm. So let's break this down. Essentially, you have the fall of the wisdom goddess, which produces this Yahweh character, Yaldabaoth, whatever you want to call him. And he creates our physical body, but is unable in any way to make it rise. Once he does, he only does so by giving away his power. And so following this, Yaldabaoth places us in the Garden of Eden, tells us not to look around and try to find any knowledge in the tree of life. Tells us not to eat from the tree of life, because he does not want us to become any further enlightened, and then throws us even further out of paradise after placing us in a false one, and then blames us for all of it. He places us in complete darkness, complete ignorance, in a mortal body, a mortal coil, if you will, and we thus begin to age. We thus begin to die. We were an immortal being, and we still are, but now we're trapped in these physical meat suits, which he and his archons created and placed our true form within, according to the Gnostics. So this is a further analysis, a little more in depth of the Secret Book of John. I hope I did okay. Hope you'll click the like button. I hope you'll subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed the content. And I have more to come. And this is the Zodiacal Syncretist. And thank you for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing. And there will be more to come.